No authentic portrait of him exists. No one was allowed to paint him. No coin ever bore his face, and yet he became the ruler of Hessen and mystery.
The year was approximately 1162. A child was born in Fafelta on the Owen River in northeastern Mongolian, and Chalwichi was the minor pride and pleve. The abutment of his preserved legend says and clutched one on his right fist.
Mongolia in the 12th century was not a nation. It was a chaos of chaoses, perkets, murderments, each raiding, ins carrying, and yan enslaving, ins files in an endless steppe of iron.
When Temujin was 9 years old, his father Yusig was poisoned by Tar enemies while returning from avenging his son's betrothal. The Barbada and the band overnight. His mother followed was Dururni, Fable follower with phone on the staff.
The family survived by eating roots, berries, and whatever small animals the children could catch. Holland taught her sons to fight for every scrap. It was in these years of desperate poverty to Temujin the most important lesson of his life.
Temujin killed his older half-brother Begder in cold blood over food and hunting rights. He was barely 13. The act was brutal, but on the steppe where weakness invited predation, it was also centered the Seri, that other boys his age had not yet discovered.
At around age 14, Temujin was captured by the Techugud clan, former allies of his father, and enslaved. He wore a wooden kang around his neck for servitude. He waited. He escaped. He never escaped.
At 1178, Temujin married Borta, the girls of rage of Samtaisu. Zilaba Sable for Kois and Mies, and Suderi used the coats as a powerful chieftain to liar with self powerbook on Kito, the fifth of the bit of the park in history.
Within months of the wedding, Borte was kidnapped by Merkit raiders in retaliation for Holland's own abduction decades earlier. The steppe cycle of revenge, endlessly turning, and accept it, he rode to Rastur.
The rescue of Borte revealed something the men who rode with Temujin was different from other tribal leaders. He shared plunder equally. He promoted men basically on birth. He rewarded loyalty extravagantly and pushed him into a meritocracy of warriors.
His friendship with Jamuka fractured as all steppe friendships eventually did. The two had been onto blood brothers since boyhood, but their visions of repornejable by the aristocratical birth and position tried by the darky.
Through the 1180s and 1190s, Temujin fought campaign after campaign against the tribes of Mongolia, the Tars who poisoned his father, the Merkits who kidnapped his wife, the Taichuds who enslaved him. He was methodical. He was patient.
After defeating the Tatars, the tribe that had poisoned his father, Temujin did send Jarvitar male taller than a cart axle to be executed. Children below the axle height were zeroed into his tribes. It was genocide and simultaneously.
By 1205, Temujin had defeated or absorbed every rival tribe on the Mongolian plateau. His former blood brother Jamuka, the last rival, was captured and brought before him. Temujin offered him mercy. Even
1206, on the bank of the Onon River, in the land where he had been born and nearly destroyed, Temujin, they raised the white Honko standard, today's Nantelbevil ruler.
The new Great Khan immediately began transforming the Mongol tribal systems into some things that went lavished inherited aristocratic titles. He organized entire Wonder tribe Wombo lines.
He also did something alone most no ruler of his era did, but he made the Yasa Ritla good for all Mongols. It began at the kingdom of women, for and the kingdom of punishable by death, guaranteed freedom of religion for all subjects.
The Mongol army that Genghis Khan built was unlike any force the world had seen. Every able-bodied male was a soldier. Every soldier was an expert from horseman and childbirth, capable socially compositing 200 meters for accurate for.
The Mongol army traveled faster than any contemporary force. No supply train. They lived off horses, drinking mares, mounted horses. Each warrior tracked a mouse, Paimid that traveled of far meters, and an army then teaching of Fridasternos.
Intelligence. This is the secret weapon that historians often overlook. Before any campaign, Mongol spies disguised as travel that had ahead from Unsel, Yerjan, Ursage, Fentivensons, and Naples.
Submit and live. Resist and die.
The first great campaign beyond Mongolia, the Shi'ar kingdom of northwestern China. 1209, the Tangut people had built a wealthy kingdom trading on the Silk Road. They had walls, they had fortifications. They had never heard of the man coming for them.
The Mongols had never besieged a walled city before. Stone walls were not the steppe. They attempted to divert a river to flood the city. The plan failed and flooded their own camp. They retreated, and they came back the next year with Chinese engineers who knew how to break walls.
by the time the Shisha submitted, paying tribute and providing troops, Genghis Khan had already turned his attention to a far greater prize, the Jin dynasty of northern China, then the most powerful state in Asia, ruling over 50 million walls that had kept out nomads for centuries.
1211. Genghis Khan crossed the Great Wall with an army of perhaps 1,000 soldiers, and the Jin to them Mongols destroyed into a Malavri into a mountain valley and in a gallon with archery. The Jin. But what Genghis Khan found in the Jin cities changed him. Libraries, cells, palace, cellar and portioners, doctors, ministrate hours. He did not destroy all of it. Chinese dreidel was off as menstry.
The YAM, the postal relay system. Genghis Khan created the first international postal service in history. Preached every stone empires, fresh horses, reformed ready. A message to the heat party goal is red.
1218. The Khwarezmian Empire. Shamtalal ruled a wealthy, sophisticated state strategic with the Dayton from Persia, Vajraja the soldier, Dislana Sampragam Bukhara of Gend. Worth of a senate to the defense of
The news reached Genghis Khan on the steppe.
He rode alone to a mountain and prayed to Tengri, the eternal blue sky, for 3 days. What came down from that mound was not a man seeking trade or war, but it was the forces at Schlinger. The Khwarezmian campaign of 1219-1221 was the most devastating military operation in the medieval world. Divided his army into multiple columns, attacking different directions simultaneously as a forward, Court Hunter climb the Yam relay.
Bukhara, February 1220, one of the cities on the Islamic world. The city of Larison fled. Road that Genghis Khan bord the Benchuret Central and preaching pulp.
And the Montgen should have twaded ranch to announce it to Vunskop rendied in electric city, then sacked it mintimber kiloved of Vosti, the dele great Silverino to Major Trupak and then Sekane lemted.
The Shah Muhammad Dakan fled across his own empire, pursued by 2 of Genghis Khan's Skebrentis to stop at 700 kilometers or to 3 years. The Shah died a fugitive on island, where Genghis his Amo.
Urgench, the Khwarezmian capital. It resisted. When a city resisted the Mongols, what followed was mathematical. The army was given a quota. Each warrior must execute 24 people. The entire population people. The girdle.
While Genghis Khan subdued the remaining Khwarezmian resistance, his general Jebe and Supayador creations for creation as a story, the creation the Cavalry the Shin Georgia Cash and the Caspians and just the borders of Europe.
Destruction caused by the Mongol Considerpoplegion. Almost demographic analysis, Sidanik Vertop their pound can result on can be pulled diet, Zelrichtrum and Interfrisen that Santajan Palsalifin were some more stenturbane. The Mongol Empire contains contradictions, destruction and connectivity simultaneously. Modern genetics reveals his legacy, 16 million living descendants.
He never allowed anyone to paint his portrait to another dead Spencer. Name no one game which be have a copy joining near to Fisson, ye have made it cos plotting bit after Dex. We do not have what we can describe.
His generals were his greatest merit achievement. Subutai, perhaps the most brilliant general of the medieval, reigns from China Tengur, fought in Taina to Hungary, Jebe, Murnadarustan, Kragkirthi to Bajelmi.
Subutai, born the son of a blacksmith, joined Temujin served battles edge Fano or territory general in years. More created all 1,000 gone his papers with Perdapil by the Wabanan lived.
1221. The fine tanned Alfrael Gwarazov of Sea Loker men with 60,000 men. The Mongols crushed him, but Alalzadin drove it if the river Pran around his products for Indus to escape.
The religious tolerance of the Mongol Empire was not idealism, it was pragmatism. His empire contained Buddhists, Nuld Christ, Hazim Arcane Muslims, Vishtins, Tenants, religious tradition, Tenskoi.
The Black Death, the plague that killed 1/3 of Europe's population in the 14th century. There's the Silk Road along which the Bacteria Mongontentius traveled from Central Lane Rodenparnapilshin to Interset.
The Black Death, the plague that killed 1/3 of Europe's population in the 14th century. The Silk Road, Risoplayim Yersinek Bayer.
By 1225, Genghis Khan had returned to Mongolia after the Khwarezmian campaign. He was in his early 60s, ancient by the standards of a man who had spent its land on horseback from climate to Persian as it empire stretched from Korea to Deframor.
The Shibing Shillian, the first of the Huis onkremt Ibrahim and Tils from the canted. Eventually, the Bervik Kantabin zis start and transistor when cables of again torchy. Fwigaptil offing of Rokanu Gon Casty.
August 18th, 1227. His final instructions. His death was to be kept secret until the Shijia had been destroyed. His heirs obeyed. His burial was as anonymous as his face. By his instructions, the location of his tomb was kept secret. Ritter were verted over the grave. 40 horses were ridden over it to obscure any marks. The tomb of Genghis Khan has never been found.
He left 4 sons by Borte, Chagatai, Ogede, and Tolui, and an empire that covers to put his name to Great Shan. And the Kande was continued the 20 years of his death, then brought by the treat system Korea to Poland.
Under Ogede, the Mongols destroyed the Jin dynasty of Notaina Plitliak if completed Turori report. Kriemum, the South Korea, the Prismaid Mind of Poland, Hunger near Ogura to make the propopudate.
The sack of Baghdad in 1258 destroyed the House of Wisdom. The Islamic Golden Age ended in the ruins of Baghdad. At the Battle of Angelut, the Mongols were defeated. The invincibility was broken. The Mongol Empire did not collapse, it transformed. By the Ubaid dynasty in China under Kublai Khan, the Ilkhanate Persia, the Chaghai Khanate, the Horde of Gohord in Russia, and these then safe state hinted by the states of Islam.
Kublai Khan. Genghis is the conquest of China's Songdam is in the Stalvism in the Yuan dynasty. He became the first non-East and emperor of all China. The moment of Venetian tribal in Nispins.
The empire that Genghis Khan founded at its greatest 10 clan, the largest contingent an area the size of the African empire in history. It contained 1/5 of the world's total land area and 1/3 of the entire population. The Silk Road under the Pax Mongolica carried not just good China spread westward. Chinese Gamsarpal to the Islamic world and eventually Europe. Patermanatical and Chapnafodats band is Pramaetical Ferskal and Steinport.
What made the Mongol military so dominant? Historians have identified 5 key advantages. Speed, intelligence, intelligence, with it underpinned to band all the others. Mineraldocracy, the Mongol and Boval militant community.
The Great Yasans Khan's law code contained provisions that the ought being privileged, in a modern Worcesters pattern of religion for all sub jacks, the probing water pollution, even of lancing him into a worship. It is the Lord.
Mongolia today, a nation of 3 million people on a plateau the size of Western Europe. A democracy in 1990.
This phantom of the table nodal has the outside the map to trail the pie.
History refuses to simplify him. The secret rich history of the Mongols had jute no to the Khan's literature literal ancestry. It began the Gikans Chino. Liz Khan's word having this destiny for Henaba.
The Mongol Empire accelerated globalization by centuries. Historians estimate that the Stmangay Kamivrija de Grezal riches is herrnja der Poselperta auslemeter Kurmborchins. The Mongol Empire's on Russia was profound and long-lasting. The Golden Hordes were the Barus 40 been a 40 40 the Tuber 4 tiers, the Slev Taklad is a god called Bella cultured not of liberated or riches their battle Gotmensch as Mongol. A 2011 study found that the massive depopulation caused by the Mongol conquests allowed forests to regrow over previously farmland, absorbing enough carbon dioxide to temporarily cool the planet's temperature. The Mongol Empire contributed to global cooling. History has few stranger facts.
The Mongols spread pride were just something that saved millions of lives later. Inoculation against plague. Mong populations in Central Rogeries that Zantoplation or subcivity Molund and physist. His presence in our world is invisible, pervasive, and impossible to remove. These are not contradictions to be resolved. They are the man. The Mongol warrior's equipment, a composite bow made from sinew, horn, and wood, capable of penetrating armor at 200 meters, a scimitar for close combat, 2 or 3 changes of clothes in leather saddlebags, dried meat and yogurt for weeks. The feigned retreat, the most dangerous tactical maneuver in the Mongol playbook, the Novenenbonik. Polonian flew in that if sui munnings of strone perfect ambush, maneuver required, dislocated panic could not execute it.
The Great Khan's relationship with his generals, also for every modus civilization here. They might still and Jibri to them in the battlefield, Subit sound Javes and Pershu, and if all the bobcodes is apart.
His mother Holin lived to see her son become the most powerful man in the world. The secret history records that she scolded him for executing people too freely. The woman who taught him survival also tried to teach him mercy.
Orte, his wife of 50 years, was buried near Vortum is also unknown. She was in person the one persons to have trusted Ilmenzi. The question of Jurgens during the Merc captivity remained cordic disciplined. Mongol Empire's communication system was so sophisticated that the message from Bakerjan 5,000 kilometers for 2 weeks via the YAM relay. Compared this to the Rome Polsentus height for 48 kilometers at a similar relay scale.
The greatest conqueror in history was also, in a profound way, homeless.
The Mongol Empire's legacy for China was transformational. The Yuan Dynasty China to pull at Krigspater at scale extended the country as old capital and opened China to what fund China's did more contact. Marco Polo.
The Mongol invasion's impact on the Islamic world is felt today. The killing of the Caliph, the burn of the House of Wisdom. These events traumatized the Iswarn and have contributed to friends argue Sepli in scientific and philosophical development.
The nationalism is understandable. The history is complex.
The facts are not in dispute. What they mean is,
the archaeological search for Genghis tomb continues. The area of sacred mountains reverting the Lelinding location here it's according to the Slack. Says that raiders who did analysis of preparation are all being deployed. From the Onan River in northeastern Golia, Wakon, where to Midru and Satramper curve as Dentulus Freeders. The dis-sprint place to the farthest ground since grains to straight line Disan, Granzus, and successors.
The Mongol horse. The unsung hero of the grey small glamorous up nice planet of Arabian war horses or your European destriers, but able to triumph under food of Ivan supply.
The winter campaign. While European armies